Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F125 career mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we actually kick off the summer break that lasts about a half a second in the game here as we come into the Netherlands Grand Prix weekend. Home race for Max Verstappen coming off of a mechanical failure last time out in Hungary, while Lando Norris picks up the win, allowing him to close in a little bit further on Verstappen and maybe, just maybe so slightly, continue some championship hope for Norris and McLaren in this battle, as Verstappen has spent so much time running away. But yeah, it's not going to be an easy feat by any means, and Verstappen's of course pretty well wrapped it up, but never say never. Anything can happen here as we come into this weekend. It's been a few days without videos. My week this week's very different compared to a normal week because my girlfriend actually had to get wisdom teeth surgery and so we've been taking care of that here. And hopefully we should be getting back to our kind of normal routine here over the next few days. So we'll have F125 career mode coming out, as well as the my career that's started in the last couple of weeks as well on F1 2020. So we're coming into this weekend, and we were originally P3 coming into this race in the R&D for Konnersport, but we've actually dropped back down to 4th as Ferrari's gotten back out in front of us for this weekend. But this team continues to impress. It's a first season new team, 11th team on the grid, Konnersport is, and they've taken a chance on myself and Aiden Jackson, 2 rookie drivers, and we have made it count here. Of course, we've had our ups and downs, and in the last couple of races we've been dealing with some rain that's really not been beneficial to myself. I struggle so much in the rain. Now, based off your guys' comments, it's not really a me problem, which is great to hear. It's a game problem, so that's been very comforting, I guess you could say. And fortunately, this is going to be a dry weekend here for the Dutch Grand Prix, and really the story is now, I mean, can we run down Williams in the R&D? That's a team that's really been finding some speed recently, just like Konnersport. I say Williams and Konnersport have been the 2 teams that have developed super quick this season, but you still have to wonder, is the reason being other teams are managing their resources for the 2026 regulation changes? As you see my race engineer come up, pat us on the back here as we get ready for qualifying. Konnersport, I can confirm, of course, being a part of this team, we haven't really put much preparation into the 2026 regulation changes, so I'm not surprised to see that we've come this far up the grid, but will we pay the price going into Season 2 for 2026? That's, of course, the big question, because we really do need to halt our 2025 upgrades and in progression at a certain point, maybe around Singapore, Azerbaijan, kind of in that time frame. But I mean, right now we continue to improve and we continue to score points, and now we're trying to run down my teammate of Aiden Jackson in the standings. Q1 was a breeze here for myself. I mean, we ran a top 10 lap. You see P9 Aiden Jackson only in 14th with Sonoda at the top of the board, as well. Lawson just getting through over Gasly, Doohan, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, Kimi Antonelli down in P21. Yikes. Now, a team that has really faded in the last 4 to 5 Grand Prix is Mercedes. They have not really been upgrading much, and they are paying the price. Now, Kimi Antonelli has struggled far more than George Russell, and he's going on like 3 races outside of the points now here, as he's had an up and down rookie season. But I mean, myself and Aiden Jackson have by far been the most impressive 2 rookies on the grid this season. Now, there is a driver rating change coming in for the next episode in Monza because of an update that came out recently, so stay tuned on that. But Q2, we have gone through into P8. My teammate Jackson gets through into P10, but look at George Russell. We talk about Mercedes, but McLaren as well. Piastri's out in Q2 along with George Russell. Mercedes and Russell, that's not surprising given their track record over the last few races in the R&D that we just mentioned, but Piastri, that's a big hit in what's been a rough season. He's another driver like Antonelli that's going to be getting a ratings increase from this update that just came out as well, and I had the update in before this Grand Prix. I don't know why it didn't come in for this Grand Prix, maybe because I already had it like loaded and ready to go before the update came out, but nonetheless, here in Q3, finding some decent pace here, I felt like, and my teammate of Aiden Jackson as well on his final lap had went way up the order into the top 5. As for myself, rounding the final few turns, we have been quicker than Aiden Jackson all weekend long as we head down the front straightaway with DRS to the line. and it's not going to be as good as Aiden Jackson. He's going to get the best of us in Q3 by 1 spot, P8, P9, while Max Verstappen backs up his issues last episode with pole. Lewis Hamilton with a penalty, actually, so that's going to move us up a spot, and it's for illegal blocking. Hamilton gets hit with illegal blocking as we get ready for Sunday for the Dutch Grand Prix.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. A lap of this short 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with a 678 metre main straight heading into turn 1, Tarzan Corner. And on that straight with DRS open, that'll be the best overtaking opportunity on this track. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Stroll, Sainz, Alex Albon and Jackson, Golden Boy, Behrman, Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen, Tsunoda, Hamilton, George Russell and Lawson, Piastri, Ocon, Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan, Hülkenberg, Hadjar, Antonelli and Gabriel Bortoleto rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Right then, here we are with a one-stop strategy. Starting on the mediums, we'll be going on to the hards. 2 stops is an option. However, we're going to just stick with the 1 stop as we get ready to roll. Verstappen with the grid penalty has some work to do.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Verstappen starting on mediums along with a lot of other drivers. Norris onto the hards. A very interesting call for the now pole sitter. You see some softs as well throughout the grid, mainly Oscar Piastri out of the top 10 electing to start on the soft tire. We'll see if he can move forward early in this race.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
All right, boys, finally a dry weekend and then dry Sunday, so, I think we got what it takes to finish really strong today.
Damn right we do, mate. Let's do this.
It's not going to be an easy weekend here, not going to be an easy Sunday, but I feel like we're up for the challenge, and we have given up, some points to our teammate of Aiden Jackson in the last few Grand Prix that I feel like we shouldn't have, and it just comes down to the fact that the track has been wet and it's not been pretty. So, we have struggled, but now we have a dry day, and let's make it count. 5 red lights here for the Dutch Grand Prix. It's going to be lights out, and we're racing. Home driver Verstappen starting P10 with a grid penalty for parts changes as we're immediately 3 wide on the run into turn 1. Alex Albon into Konnersport sandwich there in the middle of us now as we're going to clear both of them. We get through on our teammate of Aiden Jackson, and we pass Alex Albon right to the back of how about Lance Stroll, fellow Canadian, up here with a great qualifying effort as well. And you see Fernando Alonso in the mix. We keep talking about it. Adrian Newey headed to Aston Martin this season. Don't rule out some potential progress from that team late in the season, and especially with the 2026 regulation changes, and they're showing some progression this weekend. 2 Canadians right now in the top 5, 4th and 5th for Stroll and myself. A great start. Of course, the grid penalties as well helped us move up a little bit forward. Verstappen going down the order, and Lewis Hamilton with a grid penalty for illegal blocking. We've gained 2 positions just out of that, and then we've gained actual 2 positions on the racetrack here. So a lot of racing, over 30 laps of racing here from this Dutch Grand Prix, and right now it's led by Lando Norris, but I don't know how long that's going to last. He's on the hards, and as we came to the start of lap 2, here's your answer. Now Charles Leclerc around the outside of the British driver, and the Monegasque goes to the front, and he takes the lead on lap 2 as we were settling in behind Lance Stroll. We've only had 2 different winners all season long. We're past the halfway point of the season, and only Max Verstappen and Lando Norris Norris have found the top step of the podium. Well, we see that change today with Norris now dropping to second and a gap building between himself and the Ferrari of Leclerc. It's not been a great season for Ferrari. They look to change that now as Carlos Sainz as well bringing the heat to Lando Norris, and he would get by him into turn 1. We talked about Williams improving as well, just on the same trajectory as our team here at Konnersport, and Carlos Sainz has put a Williams into P2, and as well as teammate of Alex Albon in P6. What a story for them. And I mean, here we are now coming to the end of lap 3, putting some serious pressure on Lance Stroll. An opportunity maybe right here on the run into turn 1. He goes defensive all the way to the inside wall. We'll go around the outside of Stroll, and we now take over the fellow Canadian for 4th position. And if we were to finish here, I mean, it's way too early to talk about that, but if we were to finish here, that would be a career best by far now, as we're right to the back of Lando Norris, and he is struggling for pace on the hard compound tire. That hard is not taking off, as we actually had a spin here on lap 5, and it was Pierre Gasly who would go around. A couple of rough races for Gasly. He spun around sideways in very similar fashion in the Hungarian Grand Prix last episode in the final turn right by the pit wall. But for myself, we had kind of settled in here in P4. At the end of the day, I mean, even with the hards being slower than the mediums, and it looks like the hards for Norris really have not hooked up, he's still got a McLaren, which is the top of the board in the R&D, and he is downright outpacing me in a straight line, and the DRS, of course, is keeping me alive, and I've found this track to be the easiest track for ERS management so far in this first season, and that was allowing me to have a lot more pace as well down the straightaway. So I felt like now, as we already come towards lap 10, you can see as well Norris is starting to actually put some pressure on the back of Carlos Sainz, but I felt it was a lot easier to defend here on a straightaway than it has been at any other circuit all season. I don't know if that's because of upgrades in the car or if it's just a Zandvoort thing. Maybe you guys can help me down below in the comments, but what I was finding is it was surprisingly hard to overtake after we had kind of settled out here and got past the original start of this Grand Prix. Now Max Verstappen, he is moving forward. He has passed my teammate of Aiden Jackson. He is running down Albon and Stroll, so he's up into P6. So I mean, he's making good progress, but Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, they are making that great of progress themselves here now as we come to lap 12, and you can see right now the hards on Lando Norris, they're by far quicker at this point than the mediums, but he is not able to get past Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc loves it because he is driving away, and you're going to see here as we come to the front straightaway, I mean, Norris trying to make moves, can't quite make it happen here now. He's just kind of stuck and planted here behind Sainz, so things have really calmed down, and not a lot's going on here, and for myself, I don't have enough pace to get to Norris and make a move. I just have enough pace to stick with him, so I mean, I myself can't really do anything right now. We're just kind of along for the ride, and we as well will be coming up on our first and only pit stop here pretty quickly. As you can see now, Norris going up the inside of Sainz. These are the opportunities for me right here as they get side by side and battling it out, but if Norris can't stick alongside in towards the bank curve, he's not going to be able to complete a pass on the inside through turn 1. He stomps on the brake pedal right there into the brake curve, or bank curve, but fortunately for us, we were able to avoid contact, but he is all over the rear wing of Carlos Sainz throughout this circuit. But that Williams as well, I mean, it's hard to pass, but the Williams as well has great straight line speed here today in Zandvoort, and we saw it in Spa, and it seems like the tracks where Konnersport is running good are the same tracks that Williams is finding just as much speed. However, on the days where Konnersport's kind of off, Williams is also still better, so it's going to be interesting because we're in a bit of a manufacturer fight now between us and Williams in the constructors this season. But we come through into the pits here at the end of lap 16. We're going to be one of the first to pit, and here comes already Max Verstappen, who has continued to go forward. He's now the next car behind us as he's making up some points and closing that gap to Lando Norris specifically. Now as we're going to come in, get some hard tires on, and very simple, we're going to go to the end of this race now, and we actually have a very solid pit stop. Leclerc, I think he's at a bit of a slow pit stop because, of course, he comes in from the lead, and we have closed in a ton on the Ferrari. So it looks like a bit of a slow pit stop for Leclerc, or he had to wait for maybe a Verstappen when they came in there. So either one. Nonetheless, we come out right behind Kimi Antonelli and fellow Rookie of the Year competitor. It's just not gone his way, especially since Mercedes has dropped down the R&D. He is now on a bit of a slump of no points finishes, and it was interesting because we saw Mercedes kind of start slow, then they really improved, and now they're kind of going backwards, and they're kind of at the worst point they've been all season. Nonetheless, we get the job done there on Antonelli, who still has yet to make a pit stop. He started on the hard compound tire as my teammate of Aiden Jackson now pulls off and heads into the pits. So as we come down the front straightaway into turn 1, Antonelli now under pressure from Verstappen, but Verstappen couldn't get the job done, but we comfortably come out in front of our teammate of Aiden Jackson, who's quite a ways back actually, and we're right behind Carlos Sainz. Now Lando Norris is staying out. He's going long, of course, because he's on that hards to start, so it's going to be a while until we see Lando Norris hit the pits, I reckon now, as we aren't even at lap 20 yet, but as we come a little bit later here, we have now run down Esteban Ocon, and Sainz is all over the back of the Frenchman in the Haas, another driver that started on the hard compound tire, and we would all have to wait until the front straightaway here, and now Sainz up the inside into turn number 1. Can he complete the pass? Nearly contact there as Verstappen as well has gotten through on Kimi Antonelli here now, as it's going to be close between Sainz and Ocon. Ocon not wanting to give this one up, and you can see Sainz now is going to try and take that outside momentum. It's such a NASCAR corner right there, where you use that banking, you take the momentum off the top and get around the car on the inside. It is such a NASCAR move as we go to the outside of Ocon and outbrake him with ease, of course, as he's continuing to kind of struggle on those now wearing hard compound tires here. As we now officially have completed the pit cycle, Lando Norris has come out behind Sainz, so we're P7, but we're actually about a net P4 once everybody else comes into pit here over the next couple of laps. George Russell is playing the long game. He is trying to stretch things out as we actually now, a little bit later in lap 21, have yellows behind us, and it's going to be Esteban Ocon, who had just pitted, and on the medium tires, an engine failure there for the Frenchman. His race comes to an end, and as that's happening, fellow Rookie of the Year competitor for Kick Sauber, Bortoletto, with an engine failure. 2 engine failures at once is going to force a safety car, as we had just gotten to 5th, but George Russell is the lone driver still on track that hasn't pitted. That's going to screw him, I think, a little bit, because he is going to have to pit after a lot of us catch up, and he would tumble down the order, moving us up into P4. And now it's going to be Leclerc, Sainz, Norris, your top 3, as we get ready to go back racing. So we continue, and actually we kind of catch Lando Norris sleeping, but I think I was maybe going a little bit too early. Now we go back green, but we're showing the nose. But Norris, of course, on mediums, he has a significant tire advantage, and his job has been made easy because of this safety car, because now he's got the tire advantage, and he doesn't have to make up any gaps now. He is brought right up to the back of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. If you're Leclerc, you're trying to put a gap between yourself and the Williams and hope that Lando Norris is not able to easily get past the Williams, or if he does, you hope that you've built up enough of a gap here. But as we come to the second lap since the restart, DRS, of course, now enabled, and we have just over 10 laps to go, and now it's going to, I think, become a bit of a DRS train, probably for the remainder of this race. So that's really going to make things interesting, because here we are today, and we've got both Konnersports right now inside the top 10. Now, I don't really feel like we have a 4th place car, but we have significantly benefited because of a poor qualifying effort from Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton taking a grid penalty, Max Verstappen taking a grid penalty, and on top of that as well, George Russell has had things kind of go against him with the safety car timing. I feel like in reality we should be about an 8th to 9th place car, which is about where our teammate of Aiden Jackson is running right now. But because of scenarios, it reminds me a lot of the first race that we scored points in at Jeddah early in the season. We thought we were going to have an incredible season after Jeddah. Of course, it hasn't quite turned out like that. We've still had some great moments and have continued to improve, but a lot of things went our way in that first race to score points, and it's feeling a lot like that here today. A lot of things have gone our way since qualifying that have put us in a position to be P4, as Carlos Sainz has gone around the outside of Leclerc with the DRS. Carlos Sainz to the lead here in Zandvoort. He takes control, and Leclerc had no answer for him. He drops back into P2 as we come through a little bit later on lap 29. Have you ever? Here he is now under pressure from Lando Norris. Norris into the braking zone, and this is what Carlos Sainz wants to see. Now, I knew Williams have improved, but I didn't think they've improved this much. And look at this, as they continue to battle behind, Sainz is going to run away, and importantly, he's made it probably out of DRS range, and Norris is not going to have DRS. Leclerc is going to have that rear wing open, and he's immediately going to bring the fight back to Lando Norris. Now, Norris needs to stay ahead here if he wants any chance to win this Grand Prix with 7 laps to go, but now he's left the outside wide open, which is the preferred lane here in turn 1. Leclerc back to P2 as we just kind of have to watch here from the 4th position. What a scrap that was, and Carlos Sainz has broken out of that DRS, and we continue to have Leclerc and Norris fight each other, which is allowing Sainz to just keep a comfortable gap, and suddenly, with 7 coming to 6 laps to go, it looks like there's a very real opportunity Williams could find themselves winning this race, because look at this. Norris and Leclerc continue to fight. I myself am able to keep myself in front of Max Verstappen because we have DRS. So it's super difficult to pass as these two continue to scrap. Nearly contact there with the British driver of Lando Norris. But this is reminding me actually a lot of the just recent NASCAR Cup Series Brickyard 400, where it's just so difficult to pass during the green flag conditions, and the restarts is kind of where everything is made up. Look at these two continuing to fight, but Lando Norris cannot get the job done. Leclerc is placing his Ferrari perfectly as I throw a bit of a curveball at Leclerc, try to go around the outside, can't quite make it happen, and we're running out of time quickly now to lap 33, and it's looking like, well, all I have to do is not make a mistake, and I will come out of this race with a 4th place effort. And Carlos Sainz, he hasn't driven away by a landslide, but he has comfortably got a gap here now as we come through to the final few laps, and again Norris is up the inside of Charles Leclerc. As Leclerc slides, is this the opportunity for Norris to get by him? I don't think it's going to happen. As they continue side by side, it's short-lived. Leclerc stays ahead, and that was probably the last realistic opportunity Norris was going to get right there to make it happen, and now he might just have to settle for 3rd, which importantly would still be a points gain on Verstappen, who's running 5th. Albon P6. A great day for Williams is about to get even better as we approach the final lap of the Dutch Grand Prix, and Carlos Sainz, who lost his ride at Ferrari so they could bring Lewis Hamilton in, well, it hasn't been a great season for Hamilton, and it's turning into a great season for Carlos Sainz as Norris has to defend from me before he can pressure the Ferrari. As we go through 1, he stays ahead, and that was realistically the last chance I had right there to make a move. We have been staring at the back of Lando Norris for what feels like 30 laps at this point, and we just haven't had the pace to pass him, but we've been using the DRS to keep us up here this entire race. We have ran 4th for 30 laps for sure at this point. But the story now is Carlos Sainz as we come through down the final DRS straight before we hit that front straightaway, and Norris has nothing for Charles Leclerc. Verstappen has nothing for me, and I have nothing for Lando Norris. But the story is Carlos Sainz. That's whose the spotlight is on today. Carlos Sainz round the final banked curve down the front straightaway. Carlos Sainz and Williams shock the world, and they win here in the Dutch Grand Prix from Zandvoort. Can you believe it? Leclerc in 2nd, Norris in 3rd, myself to follow in 4th.
Let's go, guys. Career high. Thank you so much, everybody. Incredible day, and congrats to Carlos as well. Unbelievable drive from him.
It was a pretty uneventful Grand Prix, of course, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, the story is Carlos Sainz, and he has now gotten fired from Ferrari and has won a race with his new team before Ferrari have won anything this season. And he's the first different winner, as you see his former teammate of Lando Norris congratulating him there. Great sportsmanship, but yeah, I mean, the first different winner that's not Max Verstappen or Lando Norris this season, and just that's awesome to see for us. P4, a career high day. I mean, just short of our first podium in Formula One. I mean, no one expected us in Konnersport to be fighting for podiums. No one expected Williams to be doing the same thing. And on the same day, we show up doing exactly that. And Aiden Jackson still a respectful 8th place effort. Verstappen gives up a few points to Lando Norris. I mean, honestly, Norris really kind of choked today. He should have been winning this Grand Prix. Instead, he's settling for third place. As you look at the points though, and you can see still over 70-point gap, but what's important here is Norris is still making headway, and of course Leclerc on back are not even really in the conversation. We have of course moved up, and Konnersport closes the gap to Williams, as McLaren as well, still some work to do if they want to run down Red Bull. That's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one for the Italian Grand Prix from Monza. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.